Hello everyone. Welcome to my live. Alright, I'm going to... Oh, did that work? Yes, it did. Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Ashley Sunshine. Welcome to today's... Oh my gosh, you know, the board is wrong, you guys. I have the wrong board up. 1 second. Bear with me. Oh, I'm gonna just edit this. Can I edit this? Nope. The board is wrong. It's the wrong topic. I'm sorry, guys. I did not update the board on here. Can I do it? I don't know if I can do it from the live. It's the wrong topic. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to hide the board because that's just confusing for everyone that comes in here. So 1 second, you guys. Bear with me. I am still figuring out this live since I've been back. It's... Oh, nope. Nope. I have to keep it. Okay, well, that's the wrong topic, so just ignore it. The why partner loss feels so different. That is not what we're talking about today. We have a different topic today, so I'm sorry if this is going to be confusing, but we need to move forward. So thank you everybody for joining. Hello, I'm Ashley Sunshine. I am a grief guide and a yoga teacher helping women rebuild their life after loss. So today's live is we are going to be talking about how there is no loss like losing a person. Drop a 1 if it's your first time here. Okay, before we get started, I want us to all take a deep breath together. So wherever you are, take a deep breath with me. Deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just letting go of any tension, worries, or anxieties that you may be holding on to with that breath. And feel free to take another one if that felt good for you. Okay, question. Is anyone grieving anybody in particular in the chat? Drop a yes in the comments if you are currently grieving someone. Okay, so to get started, I want to talk about the differences in losses between material and a human loss, which are very, very different types of grief, in my opinion. This is all based on my own experience. I'm going to just say, start out with grief is valid no matter what your grieving journey is. It's going to be different for everybody, and I'm not here to say that my specific journey with grief or my grief is any better or worse than anybody else's, because that's really going to depend on the person and your brain and how you approach life and whatever you're grieving. So I just want to start with that. Okay, so let's start with material loss, right? People lose homes, money, careers, material things. This happens every day in our life and relationships. And these all can cause different types of grief, right? But at the end of the day, they are replaceable. Material things are all replaceable, and jobs are replaceable. Relationships, I mean, to a point, are replaceable. Not obviously maybe that specific relationship that you had, but if the person is still alive, it's just a different type of grief, right? But when you lose a person that is no longer here, as in death, it is a very different type of grief, in my opinion, because that's not replaceable. People are not replaceable. And I know some of you are going to disagree. I've had some people in the comments say, oh, don't ever say never with AI. And yes, I'm going to stick with saying you can never replace a person, and not even with AI. It is not going to be the same person. You cannot. That is not God's design. That is not how we were designed. And I just don't think you're right. I don't think that's possible. If I had an AI version of my partner come back into my life, I would be so disturbed and uncomfortable with that person or whatever is replacing him. If that was, it's not him. It's not him, right? Once they're gone, you're gone. Death is so final, and it's just not replaceable. You can't replace a person. Does anyone agree or disagree? Type a yes or no in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, feel free to drop any of your questions in the chat as well. Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I am Ashley Sunshine. I'm a grief guide and a yoga teacher helping women rebuild their life after loss. Tap that Service Plus button on the bottom left of the screen. It's a square with an arrow if you want my free grief support guide, helping you navigate those intense emotional grief waves that come with grief, using holistic and natural modalities, super easy, simple tools that you can use anywhere, no matter where you are in the world, no matter where you are. I literally designed this to be used anywhere. You can stand, sit, doesn't matter where you are. It's gratitude, breath work, mindset reframing, tapping. Hi everyone. If you're new here, drop a 1. Welcome. We are talking about how there is no loss like a person. Would anyone agree? Drop a yes if you agree there's no loss like a person. Or drop a no if you disagree. Any grieving widows in the chat? Feel free to ask me any questions, even if you have any questions about any type of grief, not just grief of losing a person. Okay. So yeah, a person is irreplaceable. They are. The connection that you had with that person is so unique to each and every one of us, right? Like, all of our relationships are so different with different people in our life, and once that person is gone, that connection is gone. Once they're like no longer here on this planet, that specific connection that you had with that person is gone. Am I the only one that feels this way? Drop a yes if you agree, or a no if you disagree. I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, I think every soul is so unique. Every person is so unique, and every relationship is so unique. And so with death, you're grieving that specific relationship that you had with that person, not just who that person was to you, but you're grieving the connection that is no longer the same, I'll say. At least that's how it is for me. Has anyone ever experienced deep grief before? Drop a 1 for yes or a 2 for no. Hi everybody, welcome. I'm Ashley Sunshine. I'm a yoga teacher and a grief guide, helping women rebuild their life after loss. Tap that Service Plus button on the bottom left of the screen, the square with the arrow, if you want my free grief support guide, helping you navigate those intense emotional grief waves that can come with grief, like tight chest, having trouble breathing, anxiety, fear, overwhelm, sadness, anger, all of those things that come when you experience a grief wave. If anyone needs that tool, it's something that I still use to this day, even a year and 2 months after the passing of my partner. I use these tools every single day, and they help me So I made that to help you on your journey with grief, and hopefully helps you relieve you of your suffering, at least a little. These things do take time, by the way. Like, it's not like a one-time fix-all. You have to continue using them, and it takes patience and consistency. Don't just give up if you feel like it's not working, you know? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let's move into the next section I want to talk about. I want to talk about the uniqueness of what makes us human. What makes us human? Humans are so fascinating. We are truly so amazing. We have so many attributes that are so individual to us, right? Like our personality, our voice, how we laugh, our presence, our energy. Personality, did I say that already? And then, of course, like our physical attributes that make us who we are. Our brain, how we think about the world, how we see the world, how we create using our brain, how we socialize. Like, these are all things that make up a person and make up being human. And we are not a robot. We are not. We are very different than a robot. We are very different than AI. And yeah, when you lose that person, you don't get that whole person back. You can possibly get aspects of that person back using AI. Maybe they can figure that out, but like, you will never be able to fully replace a human for who they once were, you know? Does anyone agree? Drop a 1 for yes or 2 for no. Yeah, so once a person is gone, you don't just miss a body. You don't just miss that person's body. You miss how they made you feel. You miss their presence, their energy. And then, of course, all of the other attachments that come with that relationship. And that's never replaceable. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Any grieving widows in the chat? Drop a 1 for yes or 2 for no. Thanks for being here. Hi. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. If you have any questions about grief or anything else, thanks for being here. I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have for me. I would love to know, what are the things, if you have grieved someone, you've lost someone that has been very near and dear to you, whether that's a spouse, a partner, parent, whatever, family, I would love to know, what is it about that person that you miss the most? For me, I'll share. For me, it's one of the things I miss the most. I mean, there's obviously like so many things I miss, right? But one of the things I miss the most is how they made me laugh. I love to laugh. I love when someone can make me laugh. And my partner was hilarious. So I definitely miss how he made me laugh. Anyone else want to share? Hi, Otis. Otis asks, do you still do yoga? Thank you for being here, Otis. I'm grateful that you're here. Yes, I still do yoga, but this channel is now we are going to be covering pretty heavy topics on this channel now since the passing of my partner. So the yoga that I do will be for grief. So we'll be doing hip openers and spinal mobility and flexibility to help with the posture that grief can create. Everything I'm creating now on this channel is going to be catered to the community that I'm building on this channel, which is going to be for women grieving the loss of a partner, spouse, or soulmate. However, if you're a guy or you're grieving some other type of death and you resonate with anything I'm doing on here, you're obviously welcome. You can still sign up for my grief support guide. Doesn't matter what gender you are or what type of grief you're going through. Those tools will help anyone for whatever they're going through, even if you're going through a trauma or just some other heavy emotion. But just so you know, those tools I did design specifically from the place that I come from, which is grieving the passing of my partner. Anyone have any questions? Thanks for being here. Hello, welcome. I can't read your name because it's in another language. What is that? Arabic or something? Arabic? Anyways, this person asks, what's a quality you have that no one notices? I don't know, because how would I know if they don't notice? How would I know? I don't know. I don't ask that question, so I guess I don't really notice what others don't notice. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so when we lose a person, especially a partner or a spouse or someone that you were building your life with, like I did, you're losing not just that person, but you're losing the future that you had planned, the routines that you had together, the daily routines, if this person was part of your daily routines. That just gets pulled out. And for some, more abruptly than others, like for me, you lose the emotional safety. That person was a big part of your emotional well-being. You lose that, and you lose shared dreams, which can be extremely shocking if you don't have time to prepare for that. And again, I'm not saying my loss is better or worse than others, but when I do share about my loss with other people, even with people that are grieving or have been through a loss like this, not exactly like this, but a widow, when I tell them about what happened, they are like, I've had so many people say, oh my gosh, it's literally the worst thing that could ever happen. And now I don't agree with that necessarily or completely, because it could always be worse. But that is a lot of the feedback that I get from people when I share with them the story. And yeah, it's like I didn't have time. And that's one of the things that a lot of people will say to me. Because it's just very different. Like it happened all like so fast, and it was all like so sudden. And that's the one thing a lot of people say to me, they say, oh, you didn't have time to like really prepare for this person leaving your life. Like it happened in like the snap of a finger. And so like all of my dreams with this person, the life I built, my routines, my role, everything was just fell apart in the snap of a finger. And so that's just completely shocking and jarring. And so the grief really immediately started in that moment, right? It immediately started because immediately after, he had the stroke, the grief it hit in that moment, right? I went into like intense panic mode and had to give him CPR, and like that was the whole thing. And then just immediately started the grieving process of losing my partner because he was no longer him anymore. So every loss is going to be different, and some people have time to prepare more for losing their partner, and some of us don't have that. Anyone in the chat has lost a partner? Drop a 1 for a yes. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Ashley Sunshine. I'm a yoga teacher and a grief guide, helping women rebuild their life after loss. Tap that service plus button if you want my free grief support guide to help you navigate those intentional emotional grief waves that come with the grief of losing a partner, spouse, soulmate, such as a tight chest, intense onset of anxiety, worry, panic, fear. They're very easy to simple tools that you can use anywhere. I designed them to be used anywhere. Breath work, gratitude, mindset reframing, tapping. Thanks for liking the live. Welcome everybody. We are talking about how there's no loss like losing a person. Please ignore the title that's on the screen. It's wrong. I didn't have time to update it. We are not talking about why partner loss feels so different. We were talking about how there's no loss like losing a person. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Okay. I would love to know, anyone in the chat, if your entire life changed from a loss. Have you ever been through something like that before? Drop a 1 for a yes or a 2 for no. Hi everyone, welcome. So once you lose a person, and I can only speak from my experience, which is losing a partner or a spouse or a soulmate. But if you're grieving or you've been through the grief of losing a different type of person in your life, then you might agree with this, how your joy changes. Like the things that once brought me so much joy, and I was like this for a while, when it first happened, the things that brought me so much joy, especially the things I love doing with my partner, just didn't bring me joy anymore. They actually just like made me really sad. And yeah, I lost all of my passion and my motivation to do anything that used to bring me joy. And I almost felt like having joy, it almost felt wrong. Like I shouldn't be enjoying my life because of what's happening and because my partner is gone, or because he was, in a coma or had a stroke. It was all just so confusing. And yeah, the joy aspect, the things that brought me joy, I eventually was able to find it again with time. But there are still things that I do not find joy in that I used to find joy in doing, especially the things I would do with him, like the coupley stuff that we would do together. Those still don't bring me joy. When I do those things, they still bring me sadness. And so I kind of avoid those things because I don't want to be sad. But I find joy in other aspects of my life and in doing other things. And it's just completely changed my life. And yeah, I would love to know if anyone has been through something similar and if you want to share. Do you feel like your joy changed when you lost your person? Drop a 1 for yes or 2 for no. Okay, and then holidays, right? Holidays were already really hard for me before I met my partner because I come from a pretty challenging family. And so holidays have always been kind of depressing for me. I just don't enjoy them. I avoid them. I do not get joy from holidays. So my partner was my family and was the person I spent all my holidays with. And so when he passed, it was back to this emptiness and this void of being alone on the holidays, which just made me it made me not like them even more, especially the first year. It was I for Christmas I just like locked myself in a room and just pretended like I just wanted to pretend like it wasn't Christmas. And so I didn't like play any music, I didn't go on social media, and I just actually filmed my courses for my program because I just didn't want to think about the holidays without him. It was extremely, extremely sad. So just to know if you're going through that, you're not alone. Does anyone else feel like the holidays are a little tender for them? Especially after partner loss. Drop a 1 for yes or a 2 for no. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Ashley Sunshine. I'm a grief guide and a yoga teacher helping women rebuild their life after a loss. If you have any questions, please drop a comment. And you can tap that Surface Plus button on the bottom of the screen to get my free grief support guide, the exact tools that I use to help me navigate those deep and intense emotional waves that come with grief and loss. So yeah, when you lose a person, the world can feel empty, right? The world keeps going. It doesn't stop. It doesn't wait for you. It just keeps on going. And that's really like how time can feel like it's not real. At least for me and for some other people I've talked to in this community, how time changes shape and form when you lose a partner. Again, I don't know about other types of grief. I can only speak from my own experience of grief, and this is the only grief that I'm talking about, is the grief of losing my partner. But yeah, the world can feel so empty, and time can take shape and form, change in different ways, you know, disassociation, feel like you're walking in a dreamlike state. Feels like time is moving really slow sometimes, or really fast sometimes. Or it just goes by so fast, and all of a sudden you look back and you just can't believe like how long it's been. Has anyone had that experience with grief and how time can change shape and form? Drop a 1 for yes or a 2 for no. Yeah, and like that's one of the hardest things that I remember experiencing when it first happened. How little support there was available for dealing with grief and loss, especially, I don't know, as like someone from like my perspective. There was just nothing that I felt was for me, and that's why I created my program and these products and these tools to help others that are like me on this journey, because it felt so incredibly lonely and isolating, and the world just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop for you. It might stop like temporarily and give you a break, but it doesn't let you stay there for long. It just keeps going, and you can either get left behind or you can move on and continue on. And that's how I felt when it happened. I realized that the world wasn't going to wait for me, and that I had to keep going. You have to keep living. You can't let it destroy your life. I mean, you can, but do you really want that for yourself? You know, like, would your partner want that for you? Because they're gone. They're not coming back. They're not human anymore. And you are. You're still here, living, breathing. Ooh, what's one of the things that triggers you guys the most with your person that you've lost? I would love to know. Is there anything specific that I call them grief triggers or grief relapses? What triggers a grief relapse for you? For me, it can be music, a song, a photo. Yeah, the photos. The photos. The photos are probably my biggest trigger. For me, yeah. Anyone else have any intense triggers activating the grief within you? Okay, I want to remind you, love does not disappear. No, it doesn't. Energy is never created nor destroyed. That is physics. And love is an energy. And I know a lot of people say, what is it? What's the saying? It's like, grief is love with nowhere to go. I don't necessarily resonate with that, because I think they're just totally different. They're just totally different things, and I don't resonate with that statement. Love changes form. And maybe grief is that form temporarily, but you can use that love that you feel like has nowhere to go. You can channel it into something. It doesn't have to just go and like disappear into the void. You can choose if you want to use that love and use it for something good and beneficial, like art, music, a new mission, a new job, giving back to your community. There's so many ways that you can take that love, that loss, and you can use it for something good for yourself or for others. It's why I've created my program and all of these tools to help you, because it makes me feel so close to my partner who is no longer here and who is on the other side. But by creating all of these tools and sharing it with the world to help them through a difficult time in their life, it just helps me feel so close to him. So if you're grieving the loss of someone and you feel like your grief is your love with nowhere to go, I challenge you and I say, put that love somewhere. Don't let it be nowhere to go. Use it for something. You can channel that love into something. You can alchemize it. Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I'm Ashley Sunshine. I'm a grief guide and a yoga teacher helping women rebuild their life after loss. Drop a 1 if you're new here. Feel free to drop any questions that you might have about grief or partner loss in the comments. Malibu Beach says, how do you get the picture of them out of your head and bring who they were before? How do you get the picture of them out of your head? Yeah, you think about something else. Replace it. You have to consciously choose to replace it and channel your thought into a different place or onto a different image. If you can't get a picture of them out of your head and you want to, it's controlling the mind, and you have to consciously choose to focus on something, which is why meditation is so great, because a lot of it is visualization, a lot of meditations, and can help with teaching you how to control your thoughts and have more control over your emotions instead of just focusing on a picture of them in your mind. You have to consciously choose not to. Think about something else. I know it's hard. Red Pun says, why is it that we don't have technology yet to erase memory? Do we? We might. Not available to the average person, but possibly. We don't know. They might. Maybe it'd be a good invention. I think you might want to check out hypnosis if you want to look more into that. TVT asks, if you saw your old self, what would you say to her? I love this question. I do a lot of visitations of my old self in meditation, where I revisit older versions of me, especially at different points in the grieving journey. And I just go back with so much compassion for myself. I can see myself in moments where I was in deep pain and suffering, and I comfort myself. I comfort my past self and my younger self, and just say, hey, you have no idea what's coming. You're gonna get through this. And nurture her like I would a child. I don't have a child, but that is how I see my younger self. I nurture her like a younger version, like a child. I don't do hypnosis. Red Pen asked if I do hypnosis. I do not. That is not my area. Okay, we're going to continue. Yeah, okay. So I know this can feel common for a lot of people that are navigating grief. How you feel like if you start moving forward, you're betraying your person by moving on from them. Has anyone else felt this way while they're grieving someone in their life? Drop a 1 for yes, 2 for no. Well, I want to tell you that moving forward is not betrayal, and that healing is not forgetting. Again, I said this earlier, but the person that has passed on is no longer here in a physical human sense or form. They do not have anything about them that makes them human anymore. We cannot understand or fathom where they are or what they're going through, but I think we can all agree that it's nothing that is human. And by you holding on to them, the longer you are attached to that person, the more suffering that you're going to experience, the longer you're going to experience that suffering for. And holding on to that attachment and to that person is not doing that person any good, because they're gone. They're not here. They don't feel anything. You're still here. You're still living your life. You still have to be a person and do people stuff and play this game of life, and you're allowed to be happy. And if your person loved you and really loved you in healthy love, they would want you to be happy. They would want you to be moving on, in my opinion. But again, it's going to depend on, was this a healthy relationship, or was this a non-healthy love? Because if it's a non-healthy love, I think there's a lot more attachments involved there that are going to bring you suffering than if it was a healthy love. Because I think that loving someone is wanting that person, what's best for that person, wanting them to be happy. Does anyone agree? What does love mean to you? Do you want your loved ones to be happy? Drop a 1 for yes. Welcome, everybody. I am Ashley Sunshine. I'm a yoga teacher and a grief guide, helping women rebuild their life after loss. Thank you, Red Pun says yes. Tap that Service Plus button to get my free grief support guide to help you navigate those intense emotional waves that come with deep grief and loss. Really easy, simple tools that you can use anywhere, anytime. I use them every day for a number of different things, not just grief. Okay. Okay, yeah, I want to talk about this because I think this is so important that everybody needs to hear, especially with your loved ones. Every day, just remember, none of us know how long that we have here on this earth, and that any of us, our time could cap out anytime, any day. And so I just want to remind you, especially with people that you love or your loved ones, just remember that and think about that when you treat them a certain way or when you have a certain fight. Think about like, oh, is this fight really worth it? You know, these things that I said or didn't say, like really think about that. If that person died tomorrow, would you be okay with how you treated them? Did you say everything you needed to say, or did you not say everything you didn't need to say? Red Pun says, I lost 2 of my best friends. I am so sorry. Well, you're welcome here. Feel free to tap that Service Plus button for my free grief support guide to help you navigate any emotional waves that you might be experiencing, like anxiety, sadness, worry, fear. It includes gratitude, breath work, mindset reframing, tapping. Yeah. Send me your email. I think that's what you do on the form. I think that's how I have it set up. You send me your email and then I'll send it to you. I use them every day. I use those tools every day. So yeah, treat your loved ones like they could be gone tomorrow. Tell them that you appreciate them. Tell them that you love them. Me and my partner did this every day. Like, we were so good about it. We always were telling each other how much we loved each other, like every second. We were obsessed with each other. And so there was no like unspoken words between us. And when he passed, I mean, we were just so happy. Like, we were just at a really high point in our relationship, in our life. But I saw with his passing, a lot of people that he had arguments with or fights with coming in and just being in so much regret. Just like, I can't believe it. Last time we talked, we had this stupid fight, and like just witnessing that just made me realize how important it is that we really, really, really just remember that none of us know how long we have. And just remember that whatever you say to this person could be the last thing that you say to them. And would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with how you treated this person if they were gone tomorrow? I did lose my partner, Red Pun, yeah. My partner of 6 years. We were together about 6 years. We planned our whole life together. Well, the rest, a good portion of the life, you know. It's been 1 year and 2 months. Love of my life. Okay, and then I will provide this beautiful tool for those that are struggling with loss, and maybe you have some unsaid things that you wish you would have said to that person and they're no longer here and you can no longer speak to them or say those things to them, and then maybe you feel like you have all of this like regret that you're holding on to and guilt. And so a couple things that you can do for that is you really have to, I'm just going to encourage you to get out of this 3D world and imagine you could talk to this person. Imagine they could hear you. Just speak what you want to say to them, whether it's to a wall, a picture of them. Say the things you want to say to them. Speak to them. Speak to their energy and their spirit. It can be really helpful and therapeutic to do that. You could write them a letter. I've done this so many times. I've written my partner a letter on so many different occasions. And that's really therapeutic. Saying all the things you wish you could say to them or not say to them. And then you could burn it. I love burning rituals. So you could write the letter, light it on fire, and by doing that, I think, in my mind, it's releasing that letter into the unseen where they are. And so they'll receive it. They'll receive it. What else can you do? Things said or unsaid. Yeah, those are probably the main ones that I'll share for now that are coming to my mind. Anyone else? Has anyone ever done that before? You ever written your loved one a letter? Someone that's deceased on the other side, have you ever written them a letter? Yeah, try it, Red Pen. It's really therapeutic. You should try it. It's healing. It's really healing. And there's a meditation that you could do too, but the letter is probably the easiest one to explain right now. Okay. Yeah, I just want to remind you that love transcends space and time. It does. We cannot see love. We cannot explain love, but we know it's there. We feel it. Yes, meditation is incredible. And I do think it works as much as they say. Yes, but it takes time, consistency, practice. You can't just do it one time and then it's going to work for you. A lot of people quit because they try it one time and then they don't get the results that they want, but it takes so long to get for it to work. You have to keep doing it. You can't just do it like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. I've been doing it for a decade. It's a long time. But yeah, highly recommend if you don't meditate. You could start with something easy like just breath work and just focusing on your breathing. If you go on my page, on my pages, you'll see I have lots of like little videos that I've created using the tools from my resources, and I have little shorts that I've made with some of the meditations that you can follow along on my channel if you want to try. How does it feel for me? A range of different emotions depending on what I'm experiencing that day. It can feel calming. It can feel impatient. It can feel angry. It can feel sad. Depends whatever you're going through that day. It can feel invigorating, peaceful, scary. There's no one feeling with meditation. Personally. For me. Yeah, so coming back to love. Always coming back to love. Like, no matter how sad or emotional or what state of the grief that I'm in, I just always come back to love. And it feels so comforting to come back to that place of love because it's a high vibrational state of being. And it's really good to come back to love no matter what you're going through, because it can bring you out of whatever low vibrational frequency that you're in, like sadness, guilt, fear. If you come back to love, you're shifting yourself out of that state. And so, yeah, just like every time I start to feel really, really sad, or if I'm like crying from a memory or I'm thinking about how much I miss my partner, I will literally just start saying over and over, like speaking in with my mouth and my words. I'll just say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you so much. Like I will literally just start saying those over and over and over. And you can, even if you don't feel it right away, like speaking the words of the person that you want to become can shift you out of whatever low vibrational state that you may be in. And yeah, you know, channel that love and that loss into something. Do something with it. Do something with that loss. Like that's what I did with this program and with creating all these tools and these resources to help others. I took that loss, that pain and that suffering, and I used it to help others. And you can too. You can too, if you want to. You can channel it into art, painting, writing poetry, writing a book. Like as soon as it all happened for me, especially in the beginning, I immediately started journaling my experience and everything I was going through because I knew I wanted to write a book about it eventually. I just started writing, just journal about what you're going through. Journal your experience. Oh, and then of course finding others that are, you know, going through what you're going through. Finding community can be really helpful and healing. Having others to share with and be a part of. Make you feel less alone and can help with the isolation if you are struggling with that. Like an AA meeting. Kind of. Yeah. That's what grief share is for. Grief share is kind of like an AA meeting, I would say. Yeah. Exactly. But it's for grief. Yeah. So you can find a grief share probably around you. You can just go on Google and type in one around you. Where do you find people like me? Here. On TikTok. I've created my own grief support groups, but they're for women specifically. You could start your own group too. That's what I did when it all happened. I was really struggling with feeling alone in the isolation, and so I started my own grief support groups, virtual, to find others that were grieving a partner or spouse. You could start your own. Dennis Murphy asked, how long until you see results? With what? How long until you receive results with what? Grief share? Healing? It's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for everyone. It can be a long time for some. Depends on how much you're working through. It depends on where you're at, your brain, your state of mind, going into whatever you're trying to heal or work through. Depends on how much experience you have, how healthy or unhealthy you and your brain is. It's different for everyone. I do not meditate on live. Not at this time. Maybe sometime in the future. Okay, you guys, it is 3 o'clock. We've been on for an hour, so I'm going to be wrapping up now with our live. Thank you, everyone that joined. I'm so grateful for you for being here. And I want to end with a short gratitude practice so that we end on a high note. I'm trying to do this every time we do the live because I know we can get into some really heavy topics on here, and so I want to end on a lighter note. So we are going to end with a gratitude practice. And I do this gratitude practice in all of my grief support and women's support group calls. We always end with gratitude because it leaves in a higher vibration gratitude. So let's take a big deep breath together. Ready? Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And if you want to place your hands on your heart center and just imagine in your mind something that you are grateful for. This thing can be small or big, something about you, your life. It can be something so simple. If you have a hard time thinking of something, it could literally be, you have a bed or blankets. It can be something so small and simple like that, or a cup of coffee, piece of chocolate. I'm so grateful for TikTok for allowing me to be on here and sharing my tools and my resources to help others that may be navigating this journey. Thank you, TikTok Live. We love you. And now imagine this thing as a warm golden light in the heart space. And now feeling and visualizing this warm golden light expanding beyond the heart space to surround our entire body and fill our entire body up with this gratitude. May we carry this gratitude with us into our day. May everyone that sees this live and is watching or has watched be protected and guided, surrounded by love wherever they are on their journey. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I will be posting the recordings to my official YouTube channel, Ashley Sunshine TikTok Live, where I'll be posting all of the recordings to my TikTok Lives. There, you can just go to YouTube and type in Ashley Sunshine TikTok Live to find them. I have 2 other recordings on there since I'm just back this week. I will be coming on a weekly basis, and I'm still figuring out my schedule and what time and day is going to work the best for these lives. But thanks everybody for joining, and I hope that you got something valuable out of this. I know that the right people at the right time will see this, and have a great rest of your day. See you next time.